In improvising on I Shot the Sheriff with triads, I'm using this G minor triad, third position, and the G minor pentatonic scale adding a 2. Not played so much as a scale, but as a minor pentatonic scale with an added 2 as a neighboring tone. So think of this as a game where you're trying to play 4-note cells, and one of the 4 notes can be a neighboring tone, and 3 of the 4 have to be chord tones. So here's G minor, and I could use 2 as the second note, and I could go up or down. I could use 4 as the third note, up or down. Going down would be the second note. I could use flat 7 as a neighboring tone. And this should be, I'm speaking of this as a game because this should be thought of as something you're doing whimsically, and you're trying to play 3 out of 4 chord tones in groups, but it might not be perfect, but just try to make something that sounds musical. And this way you're thinking more freely and using your creative mind and trying to involve your left brain in playing with the rules that you want 3 out of 4 tones to be in the chord. So I'll try to incorporate those right now, and this is the chorus on I Shot the Sheriff. Continuing the neighbor study for I Shot the Sheriff, playing the 3 of 4 game, playing 3 triad tones and the 4th tone a neighbor. Here's first inversion, flat 3 in the bass, focusing on this triad of G minor. And the neighbors are 2, coming into flat 3, or 4, coming down to flat 3, or up to 5, or flat 7 as an upper neighbor to 5 in a pentatonic sense, or coming down, so lower neighbor to 1. And then 2 in the upper octave as an upper neighbor to 1. Continuing the 3 of 4 game for I Shot the Sheriff. This is in second inversion, has the 5th in the bass. 5, 1, flat 3. And the neighbors to that triad in G minor pentatonic add 9 are the flat 7 above the 5 or below the 1 between, and the 2 above the 1 and below the flat 3, in between the 1 and flat 3, and the 4 above the flat 3 and below the 5. And you can connect using the same type. These you might want to practice beforehand, unless you can think real quickly. This is an upper neighbor to each triad, to the top note in each triad. Second inversion with the 5th in the bass. And then an upper neighbor to the top note of the first inversion with the flat 3rd in the bass. And then an upper neighbor to the root position. So in this triad, the upper neighbor to the upper tone is 4 coming down to flat 3. And in this triad, the upper neighbor is 2 coming down to 1. And in this triad in root position, the upper neighbor is flat 7 coming down to 5. And remember, in this scale, I'm just using pentatonic add 2, so there is no 6. So the upper neighbor to 5 is flat 7.